So we're going to start taking the roll. I'm going to start with our elections. Are there any nominees for chair? Sure.
Nominate Nathan.
Cheers. Accept the nomination.
I suppose.
Are there any other nominations for chair?
I was gonna second the nomination. Yes.
Okay, seeing no other nominations, it's unanimous. Nathan, you are acclaimed as chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair? Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Lisa Marie.
Okay, Lisa Marie, do you accept the nomination?
Very good at chair.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Seeing none, you are acclaimed as vice chair. I will hand this over to Nathan.
Perfect. So we will start with the rules of procedure. This meeting is being held in a hybrid format in accordance with electronic participation policy for virtual meetings. The full corporate policy 50 regarding electronic virtual meetings is available online to review. Staff and delegates participating virtually are reminded to keep their video and microphones off until requested by the chair or members of the committee. All cameras for virtual committee members shall remain on to ensure quorum. Members of the committee shall indicate they wish to speak by physically raising their hand. Members who are present in person will be given the first opportunity to speak, followed by virtual participants. All members of the committee will vote by physical show of hands. Please leave your hand raised until the chair has determined the result of the vote. In the event of a connection or service interruption that occurs and affects quorum, we may recess for up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. If quorum is not achieved, the meeting will be adjourned. All rules for delegation under the city's procedural bylaw will continue to apply. So are there any declarations of conflicts of interest with anything on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, there are no presentations for tonight's meeting. So we will move quickly to 5.2. We're gonna do things a little bit of an order for a second. So we're gonna talk about the proposed alteration to 38 Dufferin Avenue, first, a property designated under Part 4 of Ontario Heritage Act. Do we have a speaker?
We're just waiting for him to join us. He's just, I think, Michelle just said he's just got the link, so he's just.
Just gonna wait until the applicant comes into the room. Should be shortly.
Michelle said we can just do 5.1. So here you go.
Okay.
I just asked her if he was joining, and she said he's coming. So if you want to do 5.1, you can. So do.
I think I need extra time.
Okay. Yeah, if they're not here, then let's go back to 5.1. So we'll talk about the proposed alteration to 200 Clarence Street, Greenwood Cemetery. We have Amanda and Michelle here to provide an overview of this item.
Am I good to go? Oh, sorry.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So through the chair, good evening and thank you for having me. My name is Amanda Anderson. I'm a project management specialist for the City of Brantford in the Facilities Capital Development under Engineering Services Department Public Works Commission. I've been appointed as a project manager and applicant for this project on behalf of the City of Brantford's Public Works Commission and more specifically Rick Cox, the Director of Parks and Facility Services. Excuse me. So the application subject to this report follows a previous heritage permit application, which was also submitted by the City of Brantford's Public Works Commission. The previous application was approved by the Heritage Committee at its June 27, 2022 meeting. However, it was determined that additional work was required to more fully restore the Waddington Crypt. So the summary work approved through the previous heritage permit has not yet been initiated, but it does include the dismantling of the north exterior brick wall with as many bricks to be salvaged for reuse as possible. Reconstruction of north exterior brick wall using, so the same wall using salvaged brick, and where necessary, new matching brick is to be used. The repair of clay roof tile, including dismantling and salvage of the clay tile roof as necessary, replacement of any damaged clay roof tiles with matching product. So since this report, the Public Works Commission has received additional funds to expand the scope of work, and that additional scope includes repairing the floor foundation where the cracks are present, restoring the parapet walls on the east and west by removing the brick above the soldier course in its entirety, resquaring the walls and replacing with existing where salvageable, replicate the existing window, including black bars on the east wall with vandalism proof acrylic glass in behind to prevent littering into the building. Replicating the existing door on the west wall, which is composed of wood interior and a metal wrap. The acrylic door window includes metal bars and a wire screen mesh on the outside. The frame of the door is likely need a replacement, so it's proposed that a custom fabricated door and frame will replicate the same door style in all metal appearance with the same window composition, minus the wire screen mesh, which is not historic application. The same style of traditional T-hinges and a new deadbolt lock is proposed. The lintels on the west wall above the door and the east wall above the window will be cleaned and repainted. There's a vent termination on the west wall parapet that does not have a visible vent on the interior, which may need to be reinstated once work begins on the structure, and this would improve the venting of the structure. Existing ceiling will be removed and new sealant applied around all windows, doors, and other openings to address visible gaps and help maintain the structure. So the entire scope of work is intended to commence in July of 2023 with completion in the fall of 2023 prior to the cold temperature setting in. The intention is to hire a reputable heritage certified contractor through the bids and tenders process that the City of Brantford has in place through an RFQ. And that's everything for me. So thank you so much for your time. I'm happy to take any comments or questions that the committee may have.
Perfect. Thanks, Amanda. Any questions for Amanda from members of the committee? Beth, go ahead.
Just a question, you made mention that the lintels above and below the windows would be cleaned and painted. They're not currently painted in what I can see in the photos. Is that correct?
They actually are painted black, and they are kind of rusting and chipping a bit, so they'll just be ground down and then repainted.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Maybe a quick one. When the work is redone, Amanda, can you send maybe a memo with pictures of the completed work once it's done in the fall? I think the committee would be interested to see the final results of all this work that's being done on the crypt.
Yep, through the chair, absolutely. Yeah, I can take pictures and I'll make note of that to send them through the committee.
Perfect, thank you. So that's it, or does Michelle have?
Michelle does the presentation. I don't know if she.
Okay, Michelle, go ahead then.
Good evening, my name is Michelle Adresse. I am a planner with the Long Range Planning Team. Through the chair, this is a staff report for Heritage Permit HA0523 for the Waddington Crypt within the Greenwood Cemetery. Next slide, please. This is an individually designated property that was designated in 1996. A number of alterations were approved by the Heritage Committee through Heritage Report HA 05-2022 last year. Afterwards, it was determined that more repairs were required to restore the crypt. The proposed alterations within this new Heritage Report are separate from the previous one. However, the work for all alterations is proposed to begin this summer. Next slide. Repairs are proposed to the foundation of the crypt to repair cracks and to restore the parapet walls on the east and west walls. Next slide. The existing window, including the black bars on the east wall, is proposed to be replicated with vandalism-proof acrylic glass, just as Amanda had said, and also to prevent littering into the building. Next slide. The door on the west wall is proposed to be reconstructed using appropriate materials to maintain the features of the original door. Next slide. The repairs include cleaning and repainting the lintels on the west wall above the door and the east wall above the window. Venting will also be added on the west parapet walls and sealant around all windows, doors, and other openings. Right. The work proposed is reviewed with the Parks Canada standards and guidelines, mainly standard 8, 9, and 13. They pertain to ongoing maintenance, repair, and conservation, or matching original features with a modern equivalent, using existing materials as much as possible and using new material when required. This application meets the standards and guidelines for conserving the Waddington family crypt. On that basis, that it meets the applicable standards, it will maintain the crypt and address the serious deterioration. The staff recommends approval. Next slide. The recommendation that request to alter the designated property at 200 Clarence Street, Greenwood Cemetery, in accordance with the details described in Heritage Permit Application HA 05-23 be approved.
Okay, any questions?
Be happy to answer
Michelle?
the question.
Greg, I see your hand up there. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, are there any estimations for how long the changes will last before they need to be modified again?
Amanda, will you be able to answer that question?
Through the chair, hopefully not for a very, very long time. That's the best I can do. That's the best I can tell you right now.
Okay, thank you.
I have also had a structural consultant come out and provide recommendations, and they're also going to develop the specifications for me for the tender. So with their guidance recommendation, it should hold up for quite some time.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the motion. The proposal from staff is that this be approved. Anyone want to make that motion? I see Susan, right?
Sandra?
Sorry,
Sandra.
Sandra, seconded by Tamara. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Hands down. I declare that unanimous. Thank you very much. So now we'll try to move to 5.2 and hopefully our attendee has arrived. Okay, Mr. Dykstra, there you are. We see you now. So I want to remind you, you have 10 minutes inclusive of questions for your presentation.
Okay, so the proposal is for 38 Dufferin Avenue in Brantford, and went through quite a lengthy design process involving the city to come up with a design for a single car garage, newly constructed, designed in such a fashion to blend in with the existing house, which is a heritage property and has been there for more than 100 years. And I think we've achieved that through many back and forths. So it is for a single car detached garage We're going to be using as many reclaimed materials as possible, reclaimed bricks, reclaimed stained glass windows, looking to blend in and match the design of the existing dwelling. And it's just a single car garage that will be attached via the foundation of the home, insulated, and a little space for garbage area, and that's it.
Okay. Any questions for our presenter? Okay, I have one. You mentioned the brick. In the drawings, it says a brick veneer. So is it going to be like that actual historic brick? Is it going to match the color of the surrounding houses?
Yeah, no, it's going to match the existing house. Yeah, and we were able to achieve that. I don't know if you remember, but last year I came and presented to do some brick repair to the home, which has now been done. We were able to source brick that actually blends in very nicely with the existing. I mean, it needs a little bit of weathering to show the fading and natural change, but as far as the match goes, it blended in very well. So similar type material. If I can get the same one, I'll use the same one that I used on the home.
And then my other question, I guess, is in the designs that you provided, there's like a sheet labeled A-1, and it looks like the garage is abutting right next to a porch. Is that the porch of the neighboring property?
No, that's the porch of 38 Dufferin. So in order to keep it detached but comply with setbacks, that's kind of how we position the garage, to keep it separate from the existing dwelling, so it's not attached anywhere except underground. And by doing so, we were able to comply with the setback requirements.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for our presenter? Dan, Brown, go ahead.
Sorry, just back to the brick. Is it a veneer brick or is it a full brick?
It's a full brick.
Full brick, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Last chance for questions for anyone? Okay, thank you, Mr. Dykstra. We'll now move to Michelle with her staff report.
And through the chair, the staff report is for Heritage Permit HA0423 for 38 Dufferin Avenue. This is an individually designated property that was designated in 1997. Next slide, please. The property is located at 38 Dufferin Ave. It's shown on the map on the next slide. The next slide, please. The homeowner is proposing to build a single car garage. The details of the garage are being carefully considered and will not interfere with the character defining element of the designated home. The homeowner actually worked with city staff to ensure that the pillars would not be affected and that the roof line of the porch would not conflict with the new roof line of the garage. Next slide, please. The garage will be attached to the foundation of the dwelling toward the back of the wraparound porch. The proposed garage would allow the homeowner to add a new use to the property while maintaining the integrity of the historic dwelling. Next slide. The style of the proposed garage is visually compatible with the designated dwelling, and compatible bricks, suitable window and door styles will be used. The proposed garage provides sufficient separation between old and new, and no character defining elements will be altered. Next slide. The work proposed is reviewed with the Parks Canada standards and guidelines, mainly standards 1, 3, 11, and 12. They pertain to the conservation of heritage value, minimal intervention, and making new work compatible and distinguishable from historic places. Next slide. The recommendation is that the request to alter the designated property at 38 Dufferin Ave in accordance with the details described in application HA 04/23 be approved. Thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, questions for Michelle? Go ahead, Tamara.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for the presentation. Like, I like the appearance of the garage. I'm just curious about the foundation requirement. Why does it have to be attached to the house?
So in discussion through the chair, sorry, with discussions with the homeowner and the building department, and also planning, the setback requirement could not be met in order to separate the garage completely from the house. Building would not accept a smaller distance between the garage and the house if it was separated. Having the foundation connected alleviates the setback requirements from the building department and also negates the need for a minor variance for the side yard setback and also a height requirement.
Okay. That answers your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Dan Brown, go ahead.
So I'm assuming that it's just a slab foundation, it's not a full 4-foot foundation? Is that correct?
It's my understanding that it's a slab foundation. The presenter, if you can confirm.
So we won't be digging down 4 feet right beside the old stone foundation and.
Nope.
Okay. Any other questions? I have a quick one, Michelle. I noticed from the site plan, it looks like this proposed garage is gonna stick out further, like closer to the street than the house. So is it not going to obscure the house and the heritage features?
No, the minimum distance is well within reason. The required front yard is actually 6 meters. The homeowner is actually providing much more than that. We feel in the planning department and also working with the homeowner that we have worked to a compromise to allow him a new use on the property and also to allow the heritage features to remain and be undisturbed and also visible from the street.
I noticed, just looking on Google Maps while I'm here, there's already a driveway there and it looks like there's a car parked where about where this garage is going to go. So it doesn't really look like it's really significantly changing the use. It's just going to be an enclosed structure. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So does anyone want to make the motion that this be approved as per staff's recommendations? Tamara, Bev seconding. Any discussion on this?
Just
Go
a
ahead.
comment that it's quite obvious that the proponent or the applicant has taken great care to design a building that fits in with the neighborhood. And I particularly like the use of the 3 windows along the side of the garage overlooking the porch. It's unfortunate that the setback doesn't meet the porch, but you are very much constrained by the lot size, so it's a good compromise.
Great. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Thank you. I declare that carried. We will try to move quickly along to item 5.3. Item 5.3 is the Heritage Conference, and we put this into our annual priorities as a professional. Lost quorum. Okay, so as we've lost quorum, we will adjourn the meeting and we will discuss that item at our next meeting.